Ladies and gentlemen, this is Don Walters welcoming you to another edition of the Staten Island Bowling Club. Today finds us at Showplace Bowling Center, starting our 9th year with community television here, Channel 24 in Staten Island, and we are the longest running sports show on CTV. It's a cold, cold day in February at Showplace Bowling Center, and we're rounding up our first stop for our 1996 season, which is our 9th year here with CTV. And we have narrowed our field of finalists to our top 14 bowlers. They are right now in their first 2-game block elimination. After the first 2 games, we'll have our top 8 bowlers remaining, and they will be rolling in match play competition to vie for the right to represent Showplace Bowling Center in next week's Champion of Champions tournament that takes place at Colonial Lanes. Now, the Staten Island Bowling Club made a few changes this year to make it a little better for our Staten Island contingent of bowlers. First of all, we eliminated our $35 membership fee, and as a result of eliminating our membership fee, we eliminated our Tournament of Champions. Our squad fee was increased from $30 a squad. We increased it to $40 a squad. Well, that will do. We'll increase our prize money and make the package a little more attractive when our bowlers take to the lanes. And I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back with my longtime co-host, Bobby Simonelli. We are back here at Showplace Bowling Center, and I have with me, as everybody knows by now, my longtime friend and co-host, Bobby, starting our 9th year on cable television with the Staten Island Bowling Club, Bobby Simonelli.
Donnie, one of the centers I really enjoy coming to, you know, I don't make all of the shows, but I like coming to the Showplace because when you walk into the Showplace, you see the most modern center on Staten Island.
State-of-the-art, they call it.
It's just a great center to come in. I mean, they have a pizza parlor here, they have an ice cream parlor here, they have the restroom, which is now into a steakhouse, which is just great. And then you go to movie right across the way. So Staten Island has a real great contributor here to the kids and the people on Staten Island with the Showplace. And I think today we're going to see some nice scores too, Donnie. I've seen a variety of lefties and righties, and the scoring didn't look that bad.
Well, Bobby, I must confess, we had some qualifying rounds yesterday. We had 3 squads yesterday, and the lanes were drastically different yesterday. There was very little back end yesterday. The balls are moving a lot more than they are today. Today there seems to be a lot more hold area, and as a result, the scores are a little higher, a little more consistent.
Well, that's one good thing about bowling, Donnie, is that you go into a center one day and the lanes are a certain way, then you go in the next day, and you have to use your judgment.
Absolutely.
This is what separates the men from the boys in the center. And it's a great thing to see that the center today, if the camera could just go across, that it is really packed in here today.
Always is over here.
And when I walk into a center, I love seeing a crowded center. I just left Rainbow. We were packed. The Showplace is packed. And hopefully bowling on the green and country lanes and the Lyceum and the rest of the centers on the island are also packed. Because without these people in the bowling centers, we don't have anything at all.
Well, as I said earlier, Bobby, we're starting our 9th season here on CTV. We are the longest running sports show on Channel 24. We are also every Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. You can find us on your TV dial, TKR cable in the state of New Jersey, which is Channel 16. Every Saturday at 2:30, watch for the Staten Island Bowling Club. Last year we were over here. We watched a shootout. You, unfortunately, were under the weather. I had Mr. Spallone as my co-host. We watched Bob Grandy defeat Tony Vigliotti 269 to 265. Interestingly enough, that was Tony Vigliotti's 3rd time that he finished 2nd. I don't have to tell you who's back in today's finals looking for the brass ring.
Tony Vigliotti. And I was here the other 2 times when he did finish 2nd. And perhaps today might be the thing that's going to break the camel's back. You know, Vigliotti is good. He's been around a long time, and he does have the experience. And it is his center.
And if you believe in luck of the draw and Murphy's Law and the odds are in your favor, certainly
Donnie, if I'm not mistaken, I think he lost his matches on 63
That's
and
correct.
64.
That's
Are we
correct.
using that pair today?
No, as per the house request, we're going to use 61 and 62. They have a lot of junior bowlers on that set, and I did want a fresh set of lanes.
So Tony should feel very good about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Donnie, what about the future of the club, the next couple of tournaments that we have?
Well, the next couple of tournaments we have coming up, first of all, next Saturday, we are having our 3rd annual Champion of Champions tournament. And that, you of course know, is open to all the winners of all my tournaments for 30 years of competition. That number has now escalated over 100, okay? Our defending champion also participated today, Steve Chirella. He'll be on hand, as will the former champion, Bobby Spallone. Joe Tusa will be there, your friend and mine, certainly. Mr. Tusa, he'll be out there trying to make another name for himself. From there, we're going to move on to a marathon, a scratch marathon that I have slated for Colonial Lanes, which I am employed by now. That's going to happen on the 23rd of February. We're going to guarantee for that event $1,500 on top. It's a $125 entry fee. Now, part of that $125 is going to cover you in all the pots. And I'm anticipating a very large crowd for that. It is a scratch event. I'm going to see if I can't get some scratch bowlers into Colonial Lanes because we have a terrific shot over there. We just had an 800 shot there Monday night in our King of the Hill.
Well, it's good to hear that Colonial is doing good again. And with you at the helm, I expect it to do even better. I don't know anything about Guido, his plans with Colonial. I hope you do.
Yes.
Because a lot of bowlers have been asking me questions. Is Colonial going to remain open? And I believe it is going to.
Well, let me say this to you, okay? You take one bridge at a time. You crawl before you walk. What I can tell you, and I can tell all the viewers, there will be a September for Colonial Lanes. There will be another season for Colonial Lanes. Turning my focus to you, during my travels here on Staten Island and all the bowling centers, you get many accolades for your commentary, for your constructive criticism, as we watch all the bowlers learn and get educated in this great game of bowling. And I'm going to put you on a hot seat right now because this is unrehearsed, certainly, and I'm bringing it to you. What I would like to do, remember years ago when we started the Staten Island Bowling Club, each month we had a 10-pin tip. Bowlers have been asking me, when is that 10-pin tip coming back? I'm having trouble with my 10 pins. I'm having trouble with my release. I'm having trouble with my follow-through. Naturally, I put the ball in the court of Mr. Simonelli.
Well, I think we can help the bowlers out with that because we're in a new game now.
I have another guy, Bobby, not to interrupt you. I'm sorry. He says, I have so much trouble staying focused from one frame to the next. What can I do to help me keep focused on each ball, and if I get a break, to just forget about it and move on to the next ball to make it better?
Well, the first thing you can do, remember, most of the centers here on Staten Island are computerized. And the computer is really good for the game in one aspect, but bad for the game in another. When in the old times when we kept score, everyone seemed to have been more into the game. I noticed that most of the time bowlers will walk in the back and they will start talking with their friends about different things that might have happened during the week, or or just manly talk or girl talk or whatever it may be. And they're not really concentrating on what's going out in front. I usually suggest to a bowler that when the bowler in front of you is up on the lanes, that's your tune to get over, stand behind that bowler, watch the way that bowler's ball is reacting, because you can line up off that bowler. If the lane starts to break down, you will see it in front of you. So the bowler in front of you should be your method of concentration. If you don't want to use him, when it's time for you to get up on the lane and you're walking from the back of the area where you were doing all of your talking, you're going to be at a big disadvantage when you go to deliver your ball. So you don't have to sit down and constantly concentrate on the game. All you need is that 1 or 2 minutes of the bowler in front of you so you can stand behind him and watch the lane itself.
You know, Bobby, it's funny you say that. I grew up at the old Knotty Pine Lanes, which became Strike City. And I was taught everything that I know, be that good, bad, or indifferent, about this great game of bowling by the late Sal Madelone, who I will always have a place in my heart for Sal because he taught me everything.
Open bowling, ticket number 92.
And Sal would always tell me, if you're bowling on a 5-man team, a 4-man team, what he would do to stay focused And of course, as you said, the game has certainly changed drastically. He said what he would do to stay focused, he would go behind the settee area, and he would just concentrate on his spot. That if he was looking for the second arrow, he would just try to stay focused on that second arrow until it was his turn to bowl again. Can a bowler still do that, to stay focused?
Definitely, but remember, Donnie, in those days, the lanes weren't conditioned as they are today.
Right.
Today, they put more oil towards the center of the lane, so now the bowler just has to pick out an area to deliver his ball into, but that area does have a tendency to break down. And if the bowler is not aware of this, he could wind up throwing a split on his next shot. But if he watches the bowler in front of him, he could get that
a better idea.
Right, he could get a communication from that ball on what he has to do when he gets up.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We got 14 bowlers left. We're going to reduce our field to our top 8 for match play competition. And when we come back, it's your up. And you're going to do our first of a series of our 10-pin tips. And I know you got something in mind for all our good viewers that have been supporting us for 9 years.
Well, the thing is, Donnie, I don't have a bowling ball with me.
You don't need it. We'll get you one. It may have holes in it, but we'll get you one. Okay, we'll be right back with Bobby Simonelli's tip of the month here with the Staten Island Bowling Club at Showplace Bowling Center.
Hi, I'm back. Donnie really put me on the spot. He wants me to give a 10-pin tip, and I really did come unprepared. I don't have my bowling ball or my shoes with me. But perhaps I can show you something very simple in the game, something that could benefit the man bowler, the lady bowler, and the child bowler. Something that is so important to this game that even bowlers that are bowling 10, 20 years, they seem to get away from it. And it's the arm swing. The arm swing is one of the most important parts of the game today, because when you're going up to the line and you're going to deliver your bowling ball, well, the arm swing and the feet must coincide with each other in order for you to maintain your balance at the foul line. If your arm swing is off or your feet are off when you get to the line, your toe's going to turn a little bit, or you're going to lose your balance. You see many bowlers fall to the right as they deliver the ball. The feeling of the arm swing should be as such. I have a bowling ball here that I found in the center, and I'm going to place the ball up on top of this table here, and I'm going to let the ball take my arm down, and I want you to notice how relaxed my arm really is. Now I have the ball laying on the tabletop, and as the ball comes down, as you notice, there is no muscle in my swing. It's very loose and very relaxed. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to let the ball fall off, and it's going to swing on its own. This is called the arm swing. The arm swing should have very little muscle in order for you to deliver the ball properly. If there is any tension whatsoever in the arm, it should come from the wrist. Most bowlers, they use a very loose swing, and as they come down and they get just before the knee, they bring the wrist in and they deliver the ball. Everything should be done from your shoulder. If you're doing it properly, you will not feel your arm whatsoever. You will feel the weight of the ball in your shoulder. I'm going to do this one more time, and as the ball drops off, I want you to notice, if you can, my right shoulder. My right shoulder comes down because it's carrying the weight of the ball, and it's also causing my arm to swing very freely. Now, this is something you must remember. In order to have a free arm swing, the thumb hole cannot be too loose or even too tight. Your hand must relax in the ball and not over-grip the ball. By over-gripping the ball, you will lose power in the back end when it hits the pocket. Most 10 pins are caused by trying to lift the ball, and as you're doing it, you're squeezing it. If you have the loose arm swing, the ball will just roll off your thumb onto your fingers, and then you will create a much natural follow-through. Most bowlers that do squeeze the ball will bring their arm through and stop midway. As you can see, I'm demonstrating. The bowlers that have a relaxed swing and swing from their shoulder, when they get to the bottom of their swing, their shoulder will bring their arm up, and it's a perfect arm swing. I hope I helped your bowling game today, and perhaps the next time I'll have my bowling shoes and my bowling ball with me. Thank you very much.
Okay, Bobby. We talked earlier of Tony Vigliotti and how he was a crowd pleaser. And once again, Mr. Simonelli, you're the kiss of death.
I wasn't even on the mic, Donnie. You were on the mic, so when Tony reviews this on Channel 24, Donnie Walters just put the jinx on Anthony Vigliotti, who was on the first 9. Thank you, Donnie.
You know, remember this happened over the green with Alan Brenner. He had the first 10. We put the lights on, and what's going to happen is the one time we don't do it is when it's going to get done. But we wanted to bring that to the viewers in the event that Tony did run the table.
He's still very happy with that game that he just bowled. I would be.
So he finishes with an impressive, what, 260, 262 with an open in a 10th. And he has been tabbed for today's competition as the favorite by one Bobby Simonelli.
If I can get him over here now. Anthony. I just want to tell you something. Donnie put you on camera, and you got the split, so you know where it came from, right? It wasn't me.
No.
He right away on the TV, he says, once again, Bob Simonelli put the jinx on Tony. Now, we were talking before, we're not using 63 and 4 today.
Very happy about that.
Very happy about that.
Very happy to hear that.
All right. 298 at the green.
298 at the green.
That usually happens. After
Tony,
one big one, you have another one.
I've got a 710 conversion on the cable show. I'm still looking for that elusive first 300, and I was kind of hoping you were going to fill
Should have
that
told me.
I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to. I didn't want
Just
you
go
to
out there and
change
bowl.
anything.
Bowl good the next one, Tony.
Okay, Bobby, so there we go.
Well, once again, like I said, Donnie, we almost had the 300.
Yes.
Scores look good here at the Showplace, and I don't see many unhappy bowlers.
Well, how can there be? As you said, the scores are phenomenal. The shot is consistent. The oil is holding. The shot's not breaking down. And I think we can only look for bigger and better things as the day progresses.
You know, Donnie, what really seems to bother me a lot, okay? As you know, I have one of the records on Staten Island for bowling in a that was a 4-man league, by the way. I don't know if the viewers know that. I shot an 825
Yes, you did.
at your old center, Knotty Pine.
You got a necklace to prove
Right, at Knotty Pine, which at that time was probably one of the toughest centers on the island.
If not the toughest.
Since then, the 825 was broken, but in a singles league, I believe it was, right?
Yes.
And see this center here? If anyone should blow out a big 800, it should really come from this center. I mean, the center has everything. It's got synthetic lanes, phenolic kickbacks. It has everything you need for the high schools. And sooner or later, I'm going to make a prediction, an 870 or an 880 will be delivered here at the Showplace. And I hope when it does happen that even the borough president would come down and it would be a gala thing, because you know as well as I do, Donnie, we need more sport in our game.
No question.
We had our friend turned down for the Bowlers Hall of Fame.
Benny McNevich.
Don't
get my blood boiling.
No, but Benny, by the way, is in the New Jersey Hall of Fame. And
Hall of Fame.
And do you know what it is to live on Staten Island and be voted into 3 different Hall of Fames in New York State and in your own borough, that you're not even recognized, that at the time Benny was bowling was considered a tough sport.
Yep.
A lot tougher than it is today. And he has a lot of records in different boroughs,
No
and
question.
he just didn't get recognized. They passed over him like he wasn't even visible, and instead they took
did
a
no
couple.
homework on him.
No, they
No.
took other people, and I'm not against the other people, Donnie,
Not at all.
but someone from bowling should have been picked,
Well-
and our pick was Benny.
What I must say to you, Bobby, that I already told to the other people on my board of directors with the Staten Island Bowling Club, and I say this with all due respect to everybody involved, that Hall of Fame, in my opinion, is not the Staten Island Hall of Fame, it's the Staten Island Advance Hall of Fame.
Well,
rebuttal-
I disagree a little bit, Donnie,
Okay.
because here's how I feel. That the Staten Island Advance Hall of Fame is a start. And it's good
Okay.
to have a start.
Okay.
And what I would have liked to have seen were the people that were in charge to make the voting. They should have went to people within
varied.
each sport.
That's right.
They could have came to
Absolutely right.
you or to myself,
Absolutely
and they could have said, Benny McNevich, what about him?
Absolutely
They didn't
right.
even do any investigation
No,
on it.
no.
They had some great football players that made press, I mean, across the whole country. Great. That's a good thing for Staten Island. They had some great coaches that made their name famous on Staten Island and in other parts of the country. But they forgot that there are other sports besides baseball, football, and whatever.
The majors,
We
yeah,
have bowling. And it shouldn't be looked at that bowling is not a sport.
not
It's a
respected.
great participating game. But to the pro bowler, it is a sport.
Yep.
He makes his living from bowling. He sacrifices. He sacrifices his family. Most bowlers bowl 5-6 times a week. They go away. They're bowling professionally. And I really think that the next time the Staten Island Advance votes for someone for the Hall of Fame, that it should be mandatory that whatever sport they take a person from, contact people within the sport that have the knowledge to give to you so you can make the right choices.
Absolutely. If it's warranted. And the only way to find out if it's warranted is to get in touch with the people that know that. Know about him as an individual, as a person, as a humanitarian, as a family person, his contributions, his longevity, his general ability, his leadership, all of the qualities that we need for a Hall of Fame.
And Benny is not a young man. He's a man up in his 80s now.
He's going to be 80 in March.
He's going to be 80 in March, and I really believe that this man should see the day that he is welcomed into the Staten Island Advance Hall of Fame, because you, Staten Island Advance, have done a lot of articles on this man in past years. A lot of articles. And he contributed that way to your articles.
No question. Bobby, you know we did that live show for Benny. I invited you. Unfortunately, you couldn't make it. You had a prior commitment. We did a whole history on Benny McNevich, okay? All the history that we got came from the Staten Island Advance archives.
Well, Donnie, I bowled with him over in Paramus, and he was a feared bowler, and he was 60, 65 years of age. The man contributed a lot to the sport. He never once downgraded the sport. I never seen him getting angry.
Always been a
I
credit.
never seen him destroy
Always.
property.
Yep.
He won tournament after tournament. He had high average in bowling leagues that didn't have bowlers like we might have today. They had the best bowlers on the East Coast in the league. So we're not talking about just an individual that walked into a bowling center and took high average. We're talking about an individual that bowled against professional bowlers and out-averaged these bowlers. And he should be in the Advance Hall of Fame, and I expect to see him next year in that category.
We, and I say we, I know I represent every single member of the Staten Island Bowling Club, we as a bowling community expect to see Benny McNevich inducted into this year's Staten Island Hall of Fame.
Definitely. I agree 100%.
He's certainly deserving. 3 Hall of Fames already. As you said earlier, resident of Staten Island all his life, all these contributions he's made, he belongs there. Hopefully he will get there. So let's take a quick break, unless you got something else, and then
That's about it, Tom.
we'll come back with some more bowling.
Well, Lee, after watching Anthony Vigalotti with the first 9 strikes in a row, and then in the 10th frame he threw a split, I figured I'd talk to you a little bit while we're waiting for the final match. You just came back from Las Vegas. All right, I guess it must have been an experience going there. Perhaps you could tell the viewers how it is going out of town and not being prepared for the type of conditions they may throw at you.
Well, having the right equipment is very important. I didn't have the right equipment, and just being prepared for the pressure is amazing. The pressure is unbelievable, and those are the 2 things that I felt the most. First, the pressure, and just not having the proper equipment, because I couldn't make the right ball adjustment.
Okay, Lee, from what I understand down there in Vegas, which is 6 hours away by airline, the lanes were bone dry in the middle of the lane. I mean, this is something you really don't expect when you go to a tournament, but that's why they call it the high roller, because it's the type of a tournament where anybody can win. There's no favorite. Nobody is has the edge on anyone else. And once again, every year they've been down there, no one has known what the condition, would be. Now here you go down thousands of miles away, and you don't have a white dot or a hard shell urethane. What are you looking forward to the next time you go to Vegas?
Well, I'm going to bowl a few more local tournaments to get that kind of experience. And I'm going to bring a couple more balls. I only went down with 2 balls. And that's just, you know, because those guys are really prepared out there. They're just fully equipped.
Well, I would suggest that the next time that you go or anyone else goes from Staten Island, perhaps they can give the showboat a little ring and talk to someone down there on what kind of a condition they might expect. Because from what I understand, there were a lot of bowlers down there that had pearlized bowling balls that got them through the head area.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I didn't have anything like that. I just had resin, and you know, and it was just hooking unbelievable.
How many times have you been to Vegas?
Twice. The last time was about 4 or 5 years ago, and both times it was totally different.
Totally different. Now, the first place prize is usually around $200,000 in Vegas, and taking a shot in a tournament like that is well worth it,
Oh, yeah.
especially since they dropped the entry fee down to $200.
Yeah, yeah. It was $200 for the winter in the Super Bowl one, and it's $1,100 in the summer one. But it is worth it. It was a great experience. I don't regret it. I look forward. I feel I gained a lot of confidence by losing because I feel I learned what I have to do now to go back the next time, which I'm going to do.
Well, it's a different thing when you're bowling in centers locally where the conditions more or less favor bowling. Right. In other words, you walk into a center and you know there's going to be oil in the center of the lane and it's not going to be too dry. And it's a lot different when you get to a center where there is no oil in the middle because you never had that experience before.
No, I didn't know what to do. I had no idea. But I noticed that the people that were bowling well were people that were always involved in tournaments and, you know, they had experience and knew exactly what to do. And I just couldn't do it.
Well, the next time you go down there, perhaps you can experiment on different types of wrist positions and different types of deliveries because this helps you also when you're in a tournament of that caliber. You have to go down there mentally prepared. I don't think is really the main issue in tournaments like this because any bowler that bowls more than twice a week, he is mentally prepared when he goes to a tournament. But like you said, the equipment and the delivery, they play a big important part.
Well, you know what was a big thing is spare shooting because in your house shot here, I hook my ball at all my spares, and out there, when, like you said, the middle is so dry, and I hook my ball for a 7-pin, and I didn't know what to do. So you have to practice spares is the main thing.
Well, Lee, here we are now in the Showplace, and we're back home. And we have a lot of local bowlers competing out here in the Staten Island Bowling Club. And after seeing Anthony Vigalotti deliver 9 strikes in a row, do you have any pick?
Well, I have to say Vig because that's Anthony. He's my friend, and I'm always rooting for him. But Anthony's probably the house favorite. He bowls great here.
He said he's very lucky that he's not on 63 and 64.
Yeah, he didn't have good luck last year on 63 and 4. He bowled.
I think the 2 times I've been here, both times were on 63 and 4.
Yeah, I'm sure he's happy about that.
Well, let's go over and see what Donnie is doing now, and perhaps we can catch the last 2 matches.
We are back here at Showplace Bowling Center with our first stop for our 1996 season with the Staten Island Bowling Club. And I have with me to my right one of the bowlers that finished in the top 8 in today's competition, first-time qualifier Greg Nagy. Greg, I want to congratulate you. You had a nice effort in qualifying yesterday. I know you're coming off hand surgery. You were a little suspect as to how you were going to perform, but you finished 8th place overall for the competition.
Yeah, I know. I thought I did very well today because with my wrist, I've been averaging only 155 for the year, but I decided to try and come back and bowl today, and I did well. Fortunately, you know, I did very good today.
And you also bowled. You qualified yesterday. Did you find the shot the same yesterday as it was today?
No, the shot today was a lot better than yesterday. Although yesterday, you know what I did in the 10th frame, which I almost missed the qualifying, but yeah. But today, you know, the shot was definitely a lot better, and the scores are a lot higher today.
Well, the good news for you that today brought another day, so as long as you got to the first hurdle, you're well on your way to trying to win the whole thing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for everything.
Greg, I thank you very much for bowling. Hope to see you again with the Staten Island Bowling Club. Okay. We have narrowed our field to our top 4 finalists. We have left-hander Rob Marchicello going against Nick Fazio, and the other set of lanes finds 3-time runner-up in this event, Tony Vigliotti, who is still in there, and he's bowling against young upstart Chris Commanda. This is our semifinal match, and the winners of each of this game will vie for the title on lanes 61 and 62. And let's see if Tony Vigliotti will go to the finals for the 4th consecutive year. And we'll be back in a moment with that game. Okay, we are back here at Showplace Bowling Center with the Staten Island Bowling Club. And with me are the 2 bowlers that finished 3rd and 4th place respectively. And we'll start with 3rd place this year, belonging to Tony Vigliotti. Tony, you're coming off a 2nd place finish last year against Bob Grandy in a whale of a match where you shot a 265 and lost. Today, it looked like you're going to stage a comeback against young Chris Commanda when you made a key strike. And unfortunately, today, Chris was equal to the call in the 10th frame.
He bowled a very good game, Chris. You know, it was the 4-pin in the 10th frame, which turned out to cost me the match. I had to give him 22 pins. I was a little tough overcoming that when a guy bowls 200. So Chris bowled very well. I missed, you know, he missed no spares. He threw strikes when he had to. Bowled a good game.
Well, as you said, Tony, you did test him in the 10th frame and is equal to it, and you got to give him a lot of credit for that. So he's going to go on into the championship match against left-handed Rob Marischelo, who's looking for his 4th title with the bowling club.
That should be a very good match. Chris is bowling well, so is Rob. I think it's going to come down to a 10th frame game with the handicap being a big difference. I like Chris to win the game.
Tony, I thank you very much. You can add a 3rd place finish now to your 3 2nd place finishes and wait till next year here at Showplace.
Well, it's something different. 3rd, something different than 2nd.
Tony, thanks again, my friend. 3rd place finisher, Tony Vigliotti. 4th place this year belongs to Nick Fazio. Nick is one of the quiet guys with the Staten Island Bowling Club. He supports every single tournament. He may give me 1 entry. He may give me 2 entries. Never wins big, but he's always manages to get something back. Nicky, today certainly was no exception to that rule.
Yeah, I was trying. I think the shoveling's what did it yesterday. I just flat ran out of gas this last game, and Bobby bowled well. He was carrying the ball nice. He was carrying the light shot, and that's what really killed me. And I just ran out of gas the last game. That's about the size of it.
Nicky, don't ever let anybody say there's not a fatigue factor with the game of bowling.
Sure.
And the deeper you get into the competition, the more fatigue you can feel.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like I said, that's the way it goes. I'll be back.
And I think this is your highest finish with the bowling club today.
I'm getting up there now. I had finished 5th, now 4th. We're getting there.
Okay, Nicky, as always, thank you for your continued support with the Staten Island Bowling Club. Before I let you go, you got Chris Commanda against Rob Marischelo for the title. The righty against the lefty.
I'm going to go with Bobby. I think he's carrying the light shot. If he can keep the light shot going, I think he'll win it.
Okay, you know, we did move to a new set of lanes.
Yeah.
Hasn't been used before.
Yeah.
So nobody will have an advantage in that regard.
Yeah, we'll see. I still like Bobby, though. More experience, I think.
Okay, yeah. Nicky, thank you for your continued support. We have 2 bowlers remaining. We have Rob Marischelo looking for his 4th title against young upstart Chris Commanda, making his first appearance in our championship match here at Showplace Bowling Center. We're going to bring you that match in a minute. Staten Island Bowling Club, this is our first stop of our 9th season. And our championship match pits Rob Marischelo, who was up on lane number 61, who receives 26 pins handicap as he pounds the pocket and starts the final match with a strike. Rob will be going up against young upstart Chris Commanda. Now Chris is receiving 31 pins, or a difference of 5 pins from Rob Marischelo. Chris Commanda up on lane number 62 is a house bowler over here at Showplace Bowling Center. Qualified in today's competition with a 3-game set of 743 with his handicap. Pounds the pocket, leaves a ringing 10-pin. Chris joined the bowling club last year while we were at Showplace Bowling Center, which was our first stop last year, and has progressively gotten better as the tour moved on. Did not miss a stop, bowled in every event, and the results are paying dividends for him today as he vies for the title here at Showplace. Very tough 10-pin. Throws the ball a little further down the lane, converts it. Always tough 10-pin conversion, gives him a spare up in the first frame as he goes to lane number 61 for frame number 2. Chris switches ball now for the first shot in the 2nd frame. Comes up light, finesses the pins, and has a first strike at a championship match on lane 61. So he has 20 in the first with a strike in the 2nd. Now, with Chris's handicap, he has 61 in the second. Rob Marchicello working on a strike, looking for the first double early on in our championship match. Rob Marchicello comes up a little high, leaves a 7-pin. As I was saying, Rob already has 3 titles with the Staten Island Bowling Club. He has a victory at Sunset Lanes, he has another win at Country Lanes, and he has another victory at Victory Lanes. So he'll be looking for his 4th title in 4 different houses as he looks to convert the 7-pin. This is a pin that has always given Rob problems in the past as he covers the 7-pin. Converts the spare, has 20 in the first with a spare in the second. If Rob can win today, he will be only one of 2 bowlers that have 4 titles in 4 different houses with the Staten Island Bowling Club. The other bowler being Manny Pepitone. First frame on 61, Rob pounded the pocket through the strike. Threw that ball real good on lane 61. He has 40 through 2 with a strike up. Commanda is now up on lane number 62. And as I said, Chris is looking for his first title with the bowling club. He's one of the young bowlers out there on the making the circuit today with the Staten Island Bowling Club. Chris's game has gotten better and better as he progressed. He's thrown a ball with a lot more authority, a lot more aggressiveness, and a lot more confidence. He was put to the test in a semifinal match against Tony Vigliotti. Needed to throw a strike in the 10th frame. Confidently got up and threw the strike to advance to the championship match against always tough Rob Marchicello. So Chris has the first double of the match, strikes in the second, strikes in the third. He's now up in the 4th frame on lane 61. Threw the ball real good, comes back with the first triple of our championship match. Receiving 5 pins from Marchicello in today's title match. Puts a little early pressure on Marchicello. Oh, you've got it. Can't catch a break on 62. That's the second ringing 7-pin for Marchicello on 62. Again, this is a pin that has always given him trouble, but he's worked on his game. He's practiced his spare shooting. And you see the results as he converted the first 7-pin conversion. Covers this 7-pin to stay in the game with 60 in the third. Unfortunately, folks, my co-host Bobby Simonelli was called to an emergency meeting, so he will not be on hand to help me with today's commentary for our championship match. So I'm going to do the best I can to go solo for you. Marchicello still looking for the first double of the match for him, as he has a Dutch 200 going, strike spare, frame number 5, lane 61. Comes up a little light, leaves a 10-pin, looks to convert the spare and stay in the match. He looked very good on lane 61 for the first and the third frame. Was a little tentative with that ball and as a result left the 10-pin. Wants to continue to make spares to stay in the match. Converts the 10-pin. And with his handicap, Rob Marchicello has 115, 104 in the 4th with a spare in the 5th. Chris has a spare and a triple as he's on the approach for frame number 5. Threw that ball out a little wider. As a result, leaves a ringing 10-pin as the ball broke in behind the head pin. And the 6 did not take out the 10. Very tough conversion as we get to the latter stages of our championship match. Tough conversion for Chris as he switches ball to shoot the 10-pin. Nice cover for Chris. Converts to spare. That was a big spare for Chris. He was on a triple. The toughest spare to make is always a spare that you have to shoot when you're on a string of strikes. So right now, Chris is enjoying a 25-pin lead over Rob Marischelo as he looks to start another string of strikes. Ball broke sharply, come up a little high, tripped out to 7 and 10. Has another string possibly on the way. Strike up for Chris in frame number 6. Marischelo is looking to start throwing some strikes to take off that 25-pin deficit that he is trailing by. Threw that ball real well. Throws another strike, frame number 6. Trails Chris Commanda by 25 pins as he continues to look for the first double of our championship match. Strike right here for Rob would make the deficit 15 pins as we get to the late stages of our championship match. Rob knows how to win. He's been in the winner's circle 3 times at the Staten Island Bowling Club. And sometimes he does his best bowling from a come from behind situation that he finds himself in right now. I think that 9-pin is a direct result of the previous shot on lane number 61 for Rob. Needed that strike desperately to put just a little bit of pressure on Chris Commanda and cut into that lead. Now he looks to convert to spare and start a string of strikes over again as he has one less frame to do it in. Converts to spare. Has 119 in the 6th with a spare in the 7th without his handicap. Chris right now is working on a strike in frame number 6. A strike right here would give him a 35-pin lead. Biggest ball of the match right here for Chris Commanda. Threw that ball way out. Lost that ball in the backswing. Leaves a 1-2-4-7 picket fence. Spare conversion here will maintain his 25-pin lead he holds over Rob Marischelo. Anything short of that will eat away at his lead. Tough conversion. Looks to shoot into the 1-2 pocket so that the ball can take out the 4 and 7. Good spare for Chris Commanda. This young man has really improved in his spare shooting as he converts a very tough spare to maintain his 25-pin lead over Rob Marischelo as we get to frame number 8. So with handicaps, Chris has 139 in his 6th with a spare, and Rob has 119 in his 6th with a spare. Threw that ball more inside. Steals a strike for frame number 8, and all Rob can do is shake his head. But the key in throwing a lucky strike is to come back with a good one. You got the break, you got to take full advantage of the break. The only way to do it is to come back with another strike. So Rob must strike here to stay 25 pins down, frame number 8. We're moving right along with our championship game. Pounds the pocket, throws a strike of his own. The deficit stays at 25 pins. Rob is now up in frame number 9, the all-important foundation frame, as he looks to throw another strike to build on for the 10th frame. Strike right here for Rob makes the deficit 15 pins. Threw that ball real well, paid dividends from pounds the pocket, trips out the 7-pin, first double of the match. Now trails Chris Commanda by 15 pins. This is the first time of our championship match that Chris has really been tested by Rob Marischelo. Let's see if he can answer the call like he did against Tony Vigliotti in the semifinal match. Wants to make sure he keeps the ball in play, makes makeable spare, leaves a 9-pin, a very makeable spare for him. Looks to convert the 9-pin to maintain his lead. Trusted the ball. Ball takes out the 9, gives him the spare. As he is up in frame number 10, a final frame for our championship match. He has 2-10 in the 8th with a spare in the 9th with handicap, does Chris Commanda. Throws the ball beautifully in frame number 10, pounds the pocket, carries a strike. Has 230 in the 9th with a strike in the 10th, does Chris Commanda. That was the biggest ball of the match for Chris right there, that strike in the 10th frame. Another strike in the 10th. And Chris can go out for a 229 plus 31, which would give him a 260. And Rob can go out for a 229 and 26 would be 255. So right here he needs a 6 count. He throws a strike, pounds the pocket, 260, and Chris Commanda is our latest winner right here with the Staten Island Bowling Club as he walks off with his first title, first club title with the Staten Island Bowling Club. Seems Rob has finally found a line on lane 62 as he answers with a strike of his own, which gives him a triple. He can run the table with a 255, which will be 5 pins short of Chris Commanda, which ironically is the difference in handicap. So Rob Marischelo will finish 2nd place this month at Showplace Bowling Center, our first stop for a 1996 season. And Chris Commanda will take his first trip to the winner's circle of the Staten Island Bowling Club, and he will hopefully be participating in Saturday's Champion of Champion event, which takes place at Colonial Lanes. That will be our 3rd annual event. And that, of course, is open to all the winners of all the tournaments that I've conducted over the last 30 years. And that field is up to 120 bowlers. As Rob Marischelo finishes with a very nice 219 effort, 242 with handicap. And let's spend some time with our latest runner-up and our latest champion with the Staten Island Bowling Club. Okay, I have with me runner-up for today's competition at Showplace Bowling Center, Rob Marischelo. Rob, you've been here before. You got 3 titles with the Staten Island Bowling Club, 3 different centers. You went up against a very tough opponent, Chris Commanda. Got a couple of bad breaks in the championship match, a couple of 7 pins, converted to spares to keep you in the match, put a little pressure on Chris, answered the call when he had to, hold a great match against you.
Bowling's always been a game of breaks, so if you get the breaks, you win. If the other guy gets the breaks, he wins. Today, I thought he got the breaks. He carried a couple of pocket shots that really weren't in the pocket. Pins were falling, you know, light hits that really weren't good balls, and those are the, you know, that's what cost me the match.
Well, I said on a cable cast, Rob, while I was watching a match, I said it's nice to get the lucky break, but it's more important to take advantage of it when you get it. Chris had the opportunity to do that and did it.
Yeah, like I said, he got a couple of big breaks, and you know, that's part of bowling. I carried the 7 pins. Mine were bad breaks. He got good breaks. That's the name of the game. You know, there's nothing to cry about. It happens. That's bowling.
Well, listen, you finished 2nd place overall, and that ain't too bad, my friend.
It's been a long time since I've been on TV, Donnie. Well, I just, you know, I wish it wasn't because of these pins, but I had a bad year last year, average-wise, and a lot of guys asking me why I'm getting these pins. And It's just when you have a bad year, that's what happens. You know, you got to bounce back. Maybe this year will be better. I don't know.
Well, Rob, you're bold as usual. You always make your presence felt when you're in one of my club stops. Today was certainly no exception to the rules. Second place overall. I want to thank you for your continued support. You're there every single month, 2 entries, 3 entries, whatever it takes. And I want to thank you for that. And I do look forward to seeing you Saturday with our champion of champions at Colonial Lanes.
Well, now I got a few dollars. I'll bowl. Now I'll definitely bowl.
That's the way to be. Rob, as always, thank you very much. Thank you, Rob. Runner-up this month at Showplace Bowling Center, Rob Marischelo, his first second-place finish to go along with 3 championship titles. And now we'll take some time. We'll meet our latest winner with our Staten Island Bowling Club here at Showplace Bowling Center, Chris Commanda. Chris, come on up, Chris. Formidable opponents to get here. You beat Tony Vigliotti. Tony tested you in the 10th frame. You were equal to it. Rob Marischelo put some late pressure on you in a championship match. You seemed to be equal to that.
Well, when I came down to this side, the high side, the lanes were a little bit tighter, and when they're tighter, I bowl better. So I just got on, and that was it.
I must confess, Chris, since you've joined us at the Staten Island Bowling Club last year, your game has improved immensely. You're bowling with a lot more confidence. You're converting spares now that you always had trouble converting. I know you're working on your game, and that work has paid dividends for you for today's competition.
That's unfortunately I don't get enough time to practice, but I practice 1 or 2 times a week, and you know, a lot of practice. I'm doing good. I'm starting to. Last time I was bowled with you, I came in 4th, and so now I got my first place with you, and I hope I got a lot more coming.
Well, I guess that's experience. You know, you got the experience to get you to 4th place the last time out. You learned from that experience. You did a little better today, and you are crowned champion at Showplace Bowling Center. I'm glad to welcome you to the Champion of Champions, which is Saturday. I got just one comment for you. I made a comment on a cable cast. I said it to Rob. I'll say it to you. You caught a couple of lucky breaks in a championship match. However, you were capable of taking advantage of the breaks, and that meant the difference between victory and defeat for you today.
Well, I got 2 lucky breaks, 2 strikes, but there's times where you bury the ball, you know.
No question.
8 pins, so got to take the good ones with the bad ones.
Absolutely. Right? It does balance out over the course of time. Now, we have a trophy to present to you from Showplace Bowling Center, and Lefty is going to bring it in now. And this, I must admit, of all my stops, my 13 stops during the course of the year with the Staten Island Bowling Club, this trophy is donated by Showplace Bowling Center, and it is without question the most beautiful trophy that any of the houses give us. So, Lefty, you want to do the honors and present it to Chris from Showplace Bowling Center?
Oh,
from Showplace.
All right, I get to do the honors. Chris, put up a good fight. Too bad you lost. But all kidding aside, you did a nice job.
Thank you.
I'll see you back there in the next tournament.
Yeah, you
And
sure
for
will.
Showplace, gave you out a great trophy for this tournament.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. Thanks again. Thank you, Johnny.
Chris, again, congratulations. I'm proud of you. You're both great. You deserve to be where you are. And we look forward to having you in our Champion of Champions. I want to thank Showplace Bowling Center. They always roll out the red carpet first. And for all you people that are watching, remember, to go bowling, it makes you feel like you'd like to.